This song was composed by Spencer the Rover, who travelled through England and most parts all round. He'd been much reduced, which caused great confusion, and that was the reason he started to roam. In Yorkshire near Rotherham, he being on his ramble, weary of travelling, he sat down at the foot of the mountain. There runs a clear fountain, with bread and cold water he himself did refresh. It tasted much sweeter than the gold he had wasted, sweeter than honey, and it gave more content. But the thoughts of his children lamenting their father brought tears to his eyes, and it made him lament. The night fast approaching, to the woods he resorted, with woodbine and ivy his bed for to make. He dreamt about crying, lamenting and dying. Go home to your family and rambling for sake. On the 5th of November, I've reason to remember, first he arrived home to his family and wife. They stood so surprised when he arrived. He sergeants more in leave. Children came with brittle prattling story, life care away. Now united like one feather, bees in one hive, contented they'll stay. So now they're all living in their cottage contented, with woodbine and children growing all around the door. They're as happy as those that's got thousands of riches. Contented he'll stay and go rambling no more. Oh, come, sweet Jane, for I must go. Come closer to me. My trunk is stowed on Johnson's boat with all his company. I heard aloud like thunder roar out of some cannon's mouth. I would be welcome safe at home in my sweet sunny south. I labored hard for 7 years, working for my wealth. I lived on bread and salty meat and never lost my health. I heard aloud like thunder roar out of some ship on board. I spied sweet Jane in all her curls, come stepping to the shore. I led her through the marbled halls, in through her father's door. A gay young crowd was standing around, standing on the floor. The parson read the marriage vows, wed as one soul for life. Now, Jane, you are mine without a doubt, a kind and loving wife.
Everybody, welcome to the kitchen table. We're going to get this thing going here in just a moment. We got the golden retriever almost on the stage here, I think. John, are we ready to count it in? Does that mean we're going right now? The show's already going out to the world. Okay, well, here we are, everybody. Welcome to the kitchen table. My name is Robert Sarazin Blake. This is the kitchen table. David Penderlofgren on my left. We are on H Street in Bellingham. I'm so happy to be here celebrating not only life and music and our friends who have come to join us. That's Elizabeth LaParelle and Brian Dolphin are our guests this week at the kitchen table. We are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Anthology of American Folk Music, which was put together by the one and only Harry Smith, who lived at one point on J Street. We are on H Street. How about that? So I'm going to start off with a couple numbers that are represented on the anthology. Well, as soon as I get my new house done, sail away, ladies, sail away. Gonna give my old one to my son. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Oh, come on, boys, listen to me. Sail away, ladies, sail away. We'll go back to Tennessee. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Ah, listen now, baby, don't you cry. Sail away, ladies, sail away. You'll be an angel by and by. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Oh, come on, boys, sail with me. Sail away, ladies, sail away. We'll go back to Tennessee. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. 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 Don't you rock 'em. All right, welcome everybody. So good to have my associate David Penderlofgren back with me. He's been engaged with other endeavors the last few Sundays, so it's nice to have him back on the show. David, it's not the same without you. How were you this week?
This week I'm fantastic, Robert.
Oh,
Thanks
good,
for
good. And how are you going to be next week?
Even better.
One thing that doesn't happen when we don't have David at the show is the bartending just takes a complete dive. We do sell the show out to kitchen tables near and far. The ones, the zeros, the cables, and the screens bring this kitchen table to kitchen tables all across the world, and we all can share a same drink, the drink of the week. That way, even if we can't be in the same room, we can be on the same flight. And the drink of the week is, what is it, David?
I believe it's called the Summer Whiskey.
Summer whiskey, because technically it is summer. See, the crowd here in the room with me knows that we're all sick of saying stuff like that. Like, it should be summer. It is summer. It's cold. We say it. We don't want to say it. We want to be positive and just not talk about the fact that it's dreary. And so I'm ashamed I said it. Instead, we're having the summer whiskey because we are all having a great summer here in the most northwest corner, the most northwest city, the most northwest state, in the lower 48. Come visit us sometime. Certainly come visit us the second weekend in August for this 22nd annual Subdued String Band Jamboree. Can you believe it? 22 years of the Jamboree. I hope you all can be there. We're celebrating Harry Smith Anthology of American Folk Music. A fellow by the name of Brett, I believe, is going to make it. We haven't seen him yet, but he's going to come talk about his book. He wrote a book about Harry Smith. Maybe that's the car rolling down there. Maybe he rolls in a black Honda. That could be him now. We don't know. But I know that I'm going to play a few songs from the Anthology of American Folk Music. This was originally... Oh, and I know that I'm going to ask the trivia question. That's right. We ask a trivia question between the first and second song. The American Anthology... the Anthology of American Folk Music, released in 1952, which means we are now celebrating, I think in August technically, the 70th anniversary of this release. It came out Smithsonian, and it was it ended up being a 3 CD set. I bet that was about many 78s. I believe it was, maybe it was LPs originally there in 52. That's a good question, but the question I'm asking is, how many copies sold in the first year? How many copies sold of the Anthology of American Folk Music in 1952? That's the trivia question. We'll get to an answer down the line. It was re-released in 62 and became so influential to the folk music revival that by the time I came along in 1977 and started listening more pointedly in the 80s, these songs already existed around us, and they would not have existed around us if they had not been on the anthology. And then these children of the folk revival, the 60s, didn't become school teachers and teach us these songs in school, but they did, all because Harry Smith, who used to live 2 blocks away from this porch, put together this anthology, including this song here. Originally done by Henry Thomas. We go fishing all the time, you can come fishing too. Bet your life, your sweet wife, I can catch more fish than you. And the fish will bite if you got good bait. Here's a little something that I'd like to relate. And the fish bite if you got good bait. You can go fishing, I'm going fishing, baby, going fishing too. I went on down to my favorite fishing pole. The baby grabbed and pulling line. Threw my pole on in, caught me a catfish just now around supper time. Proving in the fish will bite if you got good bait. Here's a little something I'd like to relate. In the fish will bite if you got good bait. I'm going fishing, yeah, I'm going fishing, baby, going fishing too. Baby brother about to run me out of my mind tonight. Go fishing with you. I said I took him down to the fishing hole. Now tell you, what do you think he'd do? Pulled a great big fish out at the bottom of the pond. Now he laughed and jumped because he was real gone. Many fish bite if you got good bait. I'm going fishing, yeah, I'm going fishing. My baby going fishing too. Oh, put him in the pot, put him in the pan, honey, cook him up nice and brown. Make a batch of buttermilk hotcakes, mama, chew 'em down, things on down. Saying ain't a fish will bite if you got good bait. Here's a little something I'd like to relate. If ain't a fish will bite if you got good bait. I'm going fishing, yeah, I'm going fishing, baby, going fishing too. All right, David. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm going fishing. Yeah, I'm going fishing, baby, going fishing too. I ain't a fish to bite if you got good bait. Here's a little something I'd like to relate. Ain't a fish to bite if you got good bait. I'm going fishing, baby, going fishing, baby, going fishing too. When I got approached and was told by the one and only Steve Wilson that was the 70th anniversary of the Anthology of American Folk Music, I thought, well, I'm going to learn some specific things. Then I looked at it and I realized I know these songs. They have soaked into me. I don't sing them the way that somebody who has worked hard to learn them the way they were presented on the anthology. I sing them the way I've learned them as they filter to me through all the other singers between then and now. These songs are mostly recorded in the 20s. The compilation comes out in 52. The first American folk revival happens there in the 50s and 60s, influences all of us. But then it's re-released in 1997, and that's when I got a copy of the Anthology of American Folk Music. and listen to it non-stop. I know all those songs kind of, sort of, to hear them. And I'm only now realizing I've always attributed the death of Bill Monroe to being what brought on the second folk revival. Bill Monroe died about 1998, 99. And then I attribute the film Oh Brother, We're Out to actually really bringing on the second American folk revival. But what I hadn't until recently realized, it's actually the re-release of 1997 of the Anthology of American Folk Music that meant that 20-year-olds in 2000 started playing folk music again. We have a version of our music called the High, Wide, and Handsome Band. We are Bellingham's premier backyard wedding band. And we do this song at weddings, and people know it. I don't know why they know it. People just seem to know this song. I know it, and I don't know why I know it. Oh, Froggy went a-courting and he did right, I'm seeing a lot of recognition out there. Froggy went a-courting and he did right, Froggy went a-courting and he did right, sword and a pistol by his side, Baby Gramps calls this the first song about interracial marriage. Well, it went up to Miss Mousie's door, Went up to Miss Mousie's door, Went up to Miss Mousie's door where he had been many times before, He set Miss Mousie on his knee, Set Miss Mousie on his knee, Set Miss Mousie on his knee, said, oh, won't you marry me, Without my daddy rat's consent, Without my daddy rat's consent, Without my daddy rat's consent, I would not marry the president, Daddy rat gave his consent, Daddy rat gave his consent, Daddy rat gave his consent, the weasel he wrote the publishment, If you're watching at home, and if you're watching, you may be watching at home. Other than those who are right here. Actually, those of you here are mostly watching at home, too. We have this beautiful... We are so socially distanced here. It's like there's no transmission of anything going on except music because we have these beautiful speakers we've borrowed for the day. If you're at home, put in the comments how you know the song Froggy Went A-Courting, please. But I'm going to start by asking these people right across the street. They seem to recognize the song. Anybody there want to share how you know Froggy Went A-Courting? They're a quiet group across the street. The quiet group, you know what I mean? They don't have parties. They mow the lawn, and that's about the noisiest thing they do. They keep to themselves, and they would prefer it if you did too. No, they don't mind, because the group over to my right, they had a rager last night, but it's acceptable. There's young people over there, and they partied. There's been graduations on this block. There's been get-togethers, and we've partied, and it's been a good time. And how about Wyoming? Wyoming, how do you know the song Froggy Went A-Courting? I'm so old I don't remember mine. Well, you're a year younger than you were last year. That's all I know. Where were we? That's right. The weasel wrote the publishment. Daddy Rat gave his... Oh, no. Uncle Rat. No, Daddy Rat. Daddy Rat gave his consent. They all went sailing across the brook. They all went sailing across the brook. They all went sailing across the brook. The great white duck came and swallowed them up. Lots of different endings to this song. This one speaks to the futility of all things and the acceptance that we all are going to die, and all we can do is celebrate the time we have together. And this last verse, and I don't know where this comes from. This is not on the version that's on the anthology, but the last verse says, carry on with the party is the message of the last verse, and it's kind of like roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun kind of essence, sort of like in heaven there is no beer, that's why we drink it here, and when we're gone from here, all of our friends will be drinking beer. That same essence is conveyed in the last verse of this version of Frog Went A-Courtin', which I don't know where I learned. There's bread and cheese up on the shelf, There's bread and cheese up on the shelf, Bread and cheese up on the shelf. If you want any more, you can sing it yourself. Froggy went a-courtin' and he did right. Froggy went a-courtin' and he did right. Froggy went a-courtin' and he did ride, sword and a pistol by his side. Well, thank you very much. My new friend, I'm looking forward to my new friend Brett Lunsford coming in and talking about his book about Harry Smith, but he's nowhere in sight. So those 3 stabs at songs from the anthology may have just been to reveal my somewhat shaky knowledge of songs from the anthology, but I did it in good spirit, and I have hope that Brett will be here. And we do have some guests coming up who are going to give us a real blast of the old stuff here, and maybe some new stuff at the same time, but we're going to do a few more before that. But hey, David's here, and it is time for the third song check-in. Yeah, just a chance to check in. Enough with this formalities. We're just going to get to know each other a little bit, see what's going on out there in comment land. David's going to look at the comments to see if there's anything worth noting. We encourage everybody at the at-home audience to let us know what city you're viewing in from. Meanwhile, I'm going to chat to these people that have got a couch out there on their front yard, and they're otherwise not paying attention, but they are. Yes, I'm talking to you on the couch. Is there a graduate over there? What's the name of the graduate? Lucy. What a great name. And Lucy, what have you graduated from? Washington State University. Wow, congratulations. Round of applause for Lucy. She's graduated, and she's moved back home, and she's going to stay at home for another 10 or... Is that true, Lucy? Yeah. Well, as a parent friend of mine, a parent of someone, a contemporary of Lucy, said, my son can't move out of the house. It's too expensive in Bellingham. It's really, and that's, it's a truth. It's gotten too expensive in Bellingham. But, Lucy, what are you going to do with your life? Just real quick. More school? Law school. Right. Right. Well, definitely go to Europe. You've got to go to Europe. David went to Europe.
Several times.
Yeah, several times. You can go more than once, Lucy. If we have one message from you from the kitchen table, you can go many times. Law school will always be there. Absolutely no rush to carry on with your education or move out of your parents' house. These are fixtures. Settle in. You're of legal drinking age. Get to know different happy hours or late night situations. I mean, the world is there for you to celebrate. Don't get bogged down in responsibilities. Okay, moving on to maybe is there any notes for the people from Comment Land, David?
Speaking of not getting bogged down with responsibilities, we do have a healthy audience joining us virtually from the Facebook and YouTube worlds. The kitchen table irregulars have all made an appearance, including Kevin Glenn from Edisto Beach, South Carolina.
Oh, what excellent. Is that one of your friends, Elizabeth? Okay. Maybe Kevin's one of my friends. I forgot you, Kevin. I'm sorry. I'm sure I know you. I'm sure, yeah.
We've got Mike Browning from Richmond, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
Says it's a nice evening there.
Very good.
And a good evening, of course, in Kittery Point. The Lofgrens are watching. And the locals just across the way. We've got Terry and Jennifer watching from the Seahome neighborhood. Karen and Philip watching, of course, from the Columbia neighborhood, and the Guelph, Ontario contingent is strong, as always, and requesting Farm in New Hampshire this evening.
Well, who are we but entertainers here to please? Let's just do it. There's the man I was wondering if we were gonna see. Yeah, I was getting worried about you. There's no excuse that makes any sense, man. Just come in and grab a chair. I wish y'all could see him. He's rolling up. He's got an umbrella and he's got a corncob pipe. Can I come visit you this summer way up on that farm in New Hampshire? I won't stay long. I'll stay out of your way. I just want to see your smile on a green summer day, and there's a river where we can go swimming, take off our clothes, have a new beginning, watch the dirt fall from our fingers and toes, lay out on the flat river stones in the sun's beams, the flowering trees kiss you so sweet. Come on, can I go back to your arms again, where my heart has always been? Can I crawl into the cracks of your smile, run my hand down your back a while, where the eyes are the ones I know, where I laid so long ago, where the arms are the ones I've seen, mountains white, mountains green in the sun's beams, the flowering trees, I miss you so sweetly. Yes, my love, you can come and see me, though again I know you'll leave me. Our hearts can only bend so long. There's a reason why. You've been gone to the rivers, the mountains and the hills, the late night parties, the daffodils, the inside passage to the Mackinac, where you became part of all that you saw of the sun's beams, the flowering trees kiss you so sweet. Thank you very much. By request, I'm not sure if it came from Ontario or if it came from the family in Kittery Point, the song of mine called Farm in New Hampshire. Oh, we have the greatest little perch going off stage left there. That's like the box seats over there in the neighbor's porch. It's fantastic. They got a little white wine going on over there. I mean, they're not here in the cheap seats with everybody. No, they got their own private thing. They're very good, very good. Oh, we got a train in the distance. Hope you can hear the train out there. Lucy and your friends are over there. There's no more tests, no more papers, no more college keggers. Here's the thing, Lucy. Stick in Bellingham, college kids all around. You can keep the college kegger vibe going on. Now, my neighbors had one last night. I decided I couldn't go over. But 2 weeks ago, I went over to the other neighbor's house for a college kegger. So sometimes you can. Sometimes you don't have to let it go. You do not have to let that go. You just have to be a little more judicious with the way you treat it, you know. Everybody loves the sound of the train. I'm awed by bridges that fill me with wonder. They fill me with awe. I don't neglect the grandeur. Hands poured the pilings, smooth concrete. Lifted the stones, played out the vision of the eyes at the desk, pencil in hand. Cup of coffee, paper and calculation. Architect with the plans, artist with the design, engineer with equations, men and women of desire. Politicians pass legislation, funding bills, the ways and means. Tax collector collected, clerk carried the one, put it in the right pile. We paid the bill in April and put it off. The addition didn't have the money. Maybe next year, so we could all get somewhere else, other end of the valley, across the Russian River, Lake Pontchartrain, fjords and fields, redwood trees, piers out in the ocean, ships across seas. And if it's raining, we might not notice. If the radio's strong, we might not see. Just take it for granted. All that's been expanded. All the hands it took to get to the other side. I'm awed by bridges. Thank you very much. I'll do one more, and then we'll have these very special guests coming up to the stage. Oh, we have some friends coming down the street with children on bicycles. Is there anything sweeter than the sight of a small one on a bicycle? I mean, it just makes you feel like there's hope for the world. She will never drive a car because by the time she's old enough, we won't have cars anymore. We will live in cities, walkable cities, and we won't be, putting all the carbon into the air. And we see that there's hope for the young one there. So we'll sing a song about trains. And then we'll have Brian and Elizabeth up to the kitchen table. Don't have to be so excited about that. I mean, we're kind of doing a nice little thing up here. Well, it's just that he lit up. He really lit up like Christmas over there. I don't blame him. We'll give a proper introduction. Well, no, we'll just start it right now. These two have moved to Bellingham 1 year ago, and people told them it was great here in Bellingham, and then they moved here, and they haven't seen the sun in 9 months, and they're not so sure if they're going to stick around. But we at least are going to have them for a couple gigs here. We have the kitchen table now, and then I think next Thursday down at Boundary Bay, maybe the Thursday after that. So coming up to the stage soon, that's Brian Dolphin and Elizabeth LaParelle, new recruits to Bellingham. We hope they stick around a little bit, but we're happy they're here now to sing for us. Once again, a song about trains. How we doing over there, Lucy? All right, she's getting a little tired of this now. Well, the train left the station at 2:45. 4:30, it was raining. 7:10 saw the day turn to night. Watched the flicker of the small town lights. Albuquerque outward bound. Everybody loves that sound. Yesterday would have been better than today. Today's better than ever. Wendy had 2 kids and her mother in tow. 6/11/74. She'd packed a magazine and a couple of beers. When the kids fell asleep, she felt the tears start to roll with the second sip. There's a relief when you start to slip. Yesterday would have been better than today. Today's better than ever. Oh, back in the bar car, it was shots of Jack. Ted pulled a bottle from his beige backpack. Canteen closed, everyone hanging on. Bridget got a guitar, started a song. Hey, play something everybody knows. Satisfaction, Rolling Stone. Yesterday would have been better than today. Today's better than ever. I always wanted to leave that place. Finally pull the lever. Engineer hadn't slept in a couple of days. Made the turns, only slightly hazed. Thinking about his brother dead 10 years. Didn't want to give anybody those nightmares. He blasted Little Richard and Elmore James. Midnight blues on the midnight train. Yesterday would have been better than today. Today's better than ever. I always wanted to leave that place. Finally pull the lever. Wendy went walking in a new hometown. Wendy went walking, the sun was high. Ocean breeze, thick gray sky. Her new hometown had a couple of quirks. Her new life didn't include that jerk. She bought a couple candles and some ice to go. Sat out on the patio. Now every day just like a clock. She's in her usual spot when around the bend comes a passenger train. Engineer watches a woman wave to the children, the lonely and the brave. Anyone making their escape. Yesterday would have been better than today. Today's better than ever. I always wanted to leave that place. Finally pulled the lever. Oh, yesterday would have been better than today. Today's better than ever. I always wanted to leave that place. Finally pulled the lever. Thank you very much, everybody, being here. Robert, Sarazin, and Blake from the kitchen table. We're going to bring our guests up to the stage. The two and only Elizabeth Perel and Brian Dolphin coming up here. So excited to have them. Living here in this corner of the most northwest corner, the most northwest city, the most northwest state in the lower 48. So happy to have them here. I met Elizabeth a long time ago, so long ago, like Wyoming in the song Froggy Went A-Courtin'. I cannot remember. I can't remember. It just seems like, Elizabeth, yeah, I know Elizabeth. We all know Brian. I just met today, so I do remember that. Tomorrow we'll see, but I'm remembering it right now, real clear. And welcome to the kitchen table.
Thanks for having us.
So thrilled to have you here. And we've got banjos, we've got fiddles. I see two fiddles.
Yeah.
Will there be some twin fiddling today?
No.
Oh, I wish.
Not today.
Oh, okay. I see a point of contention there. Didn't mean to bring that up. And
Good sensitivity.
it's
It's true.
yeah.
Brian really wishes I would learn fiddle so that we could do exactly that, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well, don't get pushed into things that take you 3 years to learn to be bad at.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm beyond 3 years today.
Yeah. I spent 3
You're glad
months
too.
learning the fiddle. I was doing, I practiced at a park by the freeway because I felt like I would not bother too many people that way. It's a very hard instrument to play poorly. And to play it well is, I can't imagine. So enough about the fiddle. What's going on over there with your world, the two of you? Brian, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
Yeah.
What's going on in our world?
Yeah, what's going on in your world?
Oh. Let's see. We're relishing an evening where our beautiful son, the light of our lives, is with someone else, and we're just hoping it warms up soon.
Yeah.
We're new to town, so
Yeah.
we don't know what's normal here.
We're making a lot of music in town though. We're meeting people such as yourself and recording music at home in the studio as we have been all throughout the pandemic and before that, and I don't know, we still have to go out to more shows, but again, we got that childcare logistical challenge and no babies in bars in Bellingham.
Now, come on down to Boundary Bay, all ages till 10 o'clock. And the last
Look at
time you
that.
two stayed up until 10 o'clock was a long time ago. So I know I'm right on your schedule there. I'm so happy you're here, and I really hope that you stick around and enjoy the sun. It does come, and then you'll forget about the 9 months of gloom. Can you back me up on that? When it comes out, you just forget about it. No, she remembers each and every afternoon of disappointment. Okay, well, let's move right into some songs here. We think we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Anthology of American Folk Music, but our guide on that, I'm not sure has arrived or will arrive. So we'll just celebrate in the only way we know how, which is to play some music here. So what do you have prepared for us?
Well, we're going to do an old song from that was recorded by an Irish traveler named Mary Delaney called "What Will We Do If We Have No Money." It has no relation to Harry Smith Anthology, but we'll get to that.
We got some of those coming.
It always takes us a minute to find the key on this one.
through the town for a hungry crown, and we'll yodel it over again. What will we do if we marry a tinker? Oh, true lovers, what will we do then? Only sell a tin can and walk on with me, man, and we'll yodel it over again. What will we do if we marry a sailor? Oh, true lovers, what will we do then? Only sail on his ships, and we'll play on his lips, and we'll yodel it over again. What will we do if we marry a soldier? Oh, true lovers, what will we do then? Only handle his gun, and we'll fight for the fun, and we'll yodel it over again. What will we do if we have a young daughter? Oh, true lovers, what will we do then? Only take her in hand and walk on with me, man, and we'll yodel it over again. What will we do if we have no money? Oh, true lovers, what will we do then? Only hop through the town for a hungry crown, and we'll yodel it over again.
Well, now we know who didn't know before why certain members of the audience were lighting up. So nice to have you two singing and playing for us. Woo!
Oh, thank you.
Lovely.
Happy to be here. We're going to do some original tunes. First one I wrote, it's called Shark Week. And it's after the more we go on, the more embarrassed I get to reveal this fact.
It's a good one, though.
But it's because my our lovely son Noah once wore a shark onesie for one full week, and after that, I don't think he ever wore it again. So that was Shark Week. And the next one is called Old Ford. Brian wrote it.
Yeah, not the car, but yeah.
The president?
How's our tuning? Should I go super shrill or should I? Yeah, I'll go shrill.
Shrill it up. Hold on there.
It's
John,
shriller
don't
if I
forget
make
to do
that
the video
face.
edits.
Yeah. All right, we're okay.
One more time.
Old Ford, is that right?
Yeah.
Old Ford.
Old
yeah.
Ford. Beautiful.
Thank you. Some original tunes. And now, well, we're going into what's definitely my comfort zone, which is old traditional songs. So there is a version of this next song, which is called The Cuckoo, on the Harry Smith anthology, but there's so many widespread, varied versions, and all of them are just amazing, in my opinion. This one I learned from the singing of Doc Watson from Western North Carolina. It's called The Cuckoo. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a fine bird. She sings as she flies. She'll cause you no trouble, for she'll tell you no lies. I'll build me a cabin on the mountain so high. I'll think on my true love as she passes me by. Her love is like a spring day that swiftly turns cold. She cares not for true love, but only for gold. Make my grave on the hillside, near the nest of the dove, so she can mourn for me like I mourn for my love. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a fine bird. She sings as she flies. She'll cause you no trouble, for she'll tell you no lies. You want to introduce the next song, Brian?
Yeah. Thank you, Elizabeth Laprelle. Great singing as always.
Oh. He has to say that because we're married.
No, I don't. And I probably hear
It's
the
better
worst.
if you do.
I probably hear the worst singing of anybody because we're just making stuff up all the time. So the most impromptu. So that's
Mhm.
good. Oh, buddy. All right, this song. Hopefully, I won't have to sing this song for too long more. So, most of y'all don't know me, but I've been singing Ukrainian folk music for a long while, in my life, since since my early 20s, and I started Ukrainian choir and did a lot of like organizing of workshops and things, and I have a lot of friends over there and friends in the diaspora, and I started. Yeah, February 24th was a bad time, and it's still not a good time. And I wrote this song like immediately, just because I'm like reading all these things and like feeling all these things on Facebook and the BBC, and it's like, where do I put all this? And I started singing, and that's often where I put things. What's to know about this song? The second verse is about how to make a Molotov cocktail. Which a lot of people think about this. Think about what your reality would be like if your friends were posting how to make a Molotov cocktail on Facebook, or like you heard that on the radio. So that's the context. Like, 'cause yeah, a lot of my friends in the capital were up to that. What else? Yeah, this song's about kind of fighting for your world, fighting for your life. And I should say, there's a what's that? Sure, yeah. Sometimes that's a tool of choice, more tool of necessity, I suppose. There's a good group. Since I've learned, like, yeah, you don't just have to join the defense forces, the civilian defense forces. There are plenty ways to help. There's workshops you can go to. Anyway, talk to me about it. There's a great group called Razom, Razom. You could look them up if this song touches you and you're like, oh, how do I help? What can I do? Donations are still flowing. There's still like millions of people who need humanitarian aid that are internally and externally displaced. All right, so here's a heavy song. Where were you when they came to invade? Did you grab a gun or flee with your family? Some people always wanna control you. Is a gun something anyone can listen to? Can it make one from two without it killing me or you? It's gasoline, motor oil, and a bottle. Crushed styrofoam too, it'll make the flame stick like glue. The whitest cloth tied with rope or rubber bands. We know this town like it's the back of our hands, 'cause it's our home and land, and all we own on our backs again. The simplest reason you ever had to fight, not that you wanted to, but you got to. It might have been over quicker if you just sat tight. They'd still try and kill you and all you love too, and the whole world you knew. It's new. It's new. what you got to do. It's new. The whole world you knew. It's new. Gold and blue. Gold and blue. Gold and blue. I think we got one more song here in this set, and there's all sorts of fun exchanges to come, I know, and I'm sure of. What do we have to say about this song and ourselves, Elizabeth Laprelle?
Thanks, Brian Dolphin, for asking. We should say that we brought a bunch of albums. I have so many albums over there, and the reason we moved to Bellingham, our band, Doran, of which we are one half, two other members who live here, we have our first album is sitting over there on the table.
If y'all know the group West of Rhone, who are awesome, that's the other half of this band.
Yeah. So lots of harmonies. So if you're here in person, please go check them out. If you're listening online, you can just look up that album in all the usual places you might suspect. Doran, Doran. And what else? I have a Patreon. You have a Patreon.
Yeah.
Each of us releases, I release a traditional song each month, usually. And I also talk about like what I'm reading and what I'm drawing and what I'm baking. And that's just your chance to Patreon if you don't know about it. It's a way to support artists, to give them kind of a more spread out monthly income. You know, you buy an album and that's just, $15, $10 one time. But if you want to support an artist to keep making their work and paying their rent every month.
And being an artist.
Yeah. That's a way to do it, patreon.com.
What? Yeah.
What are your Patreon rewards, Brian Dolphin?
Yours is patreon.com/Elizabeth Laprelle.
That's it.
Cool. For me, they get a song I write. That's all crisply and freshly produced and recorded and arranged, and I do the same for somebody else. So it's kind of it's a thing that I like to provide for other people as well. I produce and arrange for other people, which is why I call it Dolphin and You. So my name is Brian Dolphin, and the You is the person that I feature every month. And they also get, at the higher levels, they get like playlists and part recordings to folk songs. If you want to learn songs to sing, in what was your pod, in your house with your friends, things like that. I think it's a great thing to sing along with people. So that's patreon.com/dolphinandyou. Also, Elizabeth, you teach lessons, I know.
I do. I certainly do. Mostly voice, but also a little bit of basic clawhammer banjo. And if you're interested in that, you can get on my Patreon, or you can send me an email, elizabethlaprelle@gmail.com. If you're here in person, I have a little card over there. You can just grab one, take it home.
That's a good email also if you want to get on our mailing list and find out about the myriad albums that we're releasing that have already been recorded, many of them. So
yeah, and we're singing and playing now, but if you're listening at home and you want all those links, we'll drop them in there when we're done playing.
This song is on the Harry Smith Anthology of American Folk Music,
of which it is the 70th anniversary. Well, Enoch lived to be 365, and then the Lord came down and took him up to heaven alive. I saw the light from heaven come shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. Paul bound in prison, and the prison walls fell down, and then the prison keeper shouted, redeeming love I found. I saw the light from heaven come shining all around. I saw the come shining. I saw the light come down. And you're invited to sing along. Like, you can hear the part that you would sing along on, and that's where you could do it. Moses saw the burning bush, he walked it round and round, and then the Lord said, Moses, you're treading on holy ground. I saw the light from heaven come shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. Adam and Eve in the garden underneath the sycamore tree, and then Eve said, Adam, oh, Satan is tempting me. I saw the light from heaven come shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. Dry bones in the valley got up and took a little walk, and then the deaf could hear, and the mute in the valley could talk. I saw the light from heaven come shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. I saw the light from heaven come shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down.
Yeah.
Good singing.
Elizabeth
everyone.
LaPrelle and Brian Dolphin, what a pleasure to have you here at the
Nice
kitchen
to be
table.
here.
Oh, there we are, back on. And then we'll all say that again. What a pleasure to have Elizabeth LaPrelle and Brian Dolphin here at the kitchen table.
Thank you.
And so exciting, we have a special guest. I think what we'll do is bring up Brett Lunsford now. And I hope I have that name right. We're going to bring Brett up, and we'll have him take David's position. And I think the way to do that, we are on this porch here on H Street. Just come on around. I think you can walk behind us, and we'll make it happen. And Brian and Elizabeth, stay on deck here, because I think this is I love costume changes. Watch, if you were at going to be at the Jamboree this year, you'd see me in 4 costumes and 2 songs. I mean, I just love it. Show business. Well, have you met Karen Kunkel yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you know a little bit about costume changes, Bellingham style. Wow. You moved to Bellingham and Karen Kunkel's your neighbor?
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck. Well, let's bring him to the stage. My new friend, Brett.
Yes.
Brett, Robert. Pleasure to meet you. Put a round of applause here. And welcome, Brett, to everybody who's out there at the kitchen table. This kitchen table stretches all over the place. We go to Ontario. We go to Quebec. We go down to North America, South America. Everywhere that the internet goes, the kitchen table goes. And so excited to have you here with us. I'm familiar with your early musical work and excited to know more about your recent work here. The book, I believe, is called Sounding for Harry Smith. And I have felt a kinship with Harry for a few reasons. And one of them is I lived on J Street, 1404 J Street, and Harry lived on J Street, which you know all about. But I want to learn more about.
Well, I brought this book.
Oh, I think the mic is not live there, John Henry.
That's I brought this book for you so that you can have
Okay.
it and read
Wow.
more about it.
Let's just put that right up there to the camera.
I-
Beautiful.
I grew up in Anacortes and knew nothing of Harry Smith, and was in bands in college, and played in Bellingham some, played in Anacortes, traveled around. Then I was back in Anacortes running a record store. The record store is still there under new ownership called The Business.
Very good.
And while I was there, met a lot of people. Bands would come through. We'd host them in stores. And one of the guys, Hugh Holden, he worked at a bookstore in Santa Cruz, and he was reading a book on Harry Smith that he had. I'd never heard of the guy at this point, even though I ran a record store. I wasn't familiar with the Harry Smith or the anthology in the 90s. And he said, "What do you know about Harry Smith? He grew up in Anacortes. He had he built the Land of Oz in an abandoned cannery there in his boyhood." And I said, "That sounds like somebody I need to know about." So I read the book Think of the Self-Speaking and got a bunch of other books, and just was immediately fascinated by what the Northwest story was behind this influential filmmaker, artist, anthologist, and just magician. Everything that he was into, I was like, if I were trying to come up with a patron saint for the northwest corner of Washington State, I wouldn't have been bold enough to imagine all of his accomplishments. And here he is for real.
Yeah.
And so I made it a point to contact his old schoolmates from Anacortes and
Great.
do a study of documents to try to find out as much as possible. Because everywhere he went, he was building creative projects, but also creative communities, and that is something that inspires me. And so the book tries to trace the Northwest chapter of his life. And there's a new biography coming out by a full life biography by John Sved that should be out next year, which would be the 100th anniversary of Harry's birth. He was born in Portland, moved to Bellingham in the 20s, then was in Anacortes from the 30s into the early 40s, came back and graduated from Bellingham High in 1943.
Great. I was going to ask those sort of biographical questions. So his youth is in Anacortes, but graduates from Bellingham High, 43.
He spent about equal amounts of time, about 10 years in Bellingham on either side of his 10 years in Anacortes, where his parents were caretakers for an abandoned salmon cannery there on the Guimas Channel waterfront.
And what do you know about his J Street life? Was that high school or was that before his early life?
Well, they were...
or did I make up that he lived on J Street only because I lived on J Street myself and I wanted it to be true?
Well, that counts, I think, especially because the challenge of sorting through Harry's life was he never let history get in the way of a good story, and he told stories about his life that didn't necessarily have a factual basis that I could find. I wouldn't want to call them lies, even though he at one point claimed that his father was the author of the Book of Lies. But
somewhere I came across the notion that he lived on J Street, and maybe Harry was the one who said it. Whether or not his parents and the who keeps track of this at the city, the auditor, agreed on that, we don't know. But we know we graduated 43, and that is prime time to be going into a world war.
Yeah, he was not a warlike person, and but he was 4F, so he wouldn't have been drafted for that reason.
So he graduates Bellingham High School. Your book focuses on those early years, and then sort of what's the breadth of the years?
Focus goes back to his grandparents and parents.
Oh, cool.
And that's the interesting thing, is that he was a Northwesterner going back for generations. And
which, for my guests from the East Coast, is significant, because most people here are one generation deep. So it's for somebody then to go 2 generations deep, that would mean his grandparents were here when there were very few white people here.
Well, they were in the 1890s. His grandfather, Robert Ambrose Smith, came here to start Pacific American fisheries. So he was very much in that kind of social, in the cannery owner social set, is what he was raised in.
So that's 1890s. Bellingham does not become a town until 1904. We were previously 4 cities. Okay, everybody, how are we doing out there? We were Fairhaven and we weren't though. We can always get 3 out of the 4 at any given party in Bellingham, but we can't always get the 4th. All to say that Harry had deep roots in the Pacific Northwest, and that is very cool. The patron saint of all things artistic, esoteric, and worth investigating for means other than financial reward.
And in terms of the anthology, I would not claim expertise. I certainly have listened to it over and over again. And I've been studying ancestry to try and find a familial connection between Bascom Lamar Lunsford and my name. We share the surname. Maybe we're like 6 cousins thrice removed.
Okay.
But I would love it if anybody could play I Wish I Was a Mole in the Ground. That would
Well,
be.
I bet we're sitting with two people who can do it, and one person who could fake it really poorly.
You
I
heard
can
that-
definitely sign up for that. Let's talk about the anthology a moment.
Wait, I want to say one thing, which is you heard we played Dry Bones, right? We
That's
played
from
like
him.
mostly his version, not quite, because he's doing
Labeled.
solo banjo. But we put some riffs in there. We had all his lyrics and so on.
So the anthology is sort of the most famous, but he did so many different things. When he was living in the Chelsea Hotel, he was actually doing some sort of visual art, if I'm remembering this right.
Yeah.
Collage, maybe.
Making films, and he'd started making films when he was in Washington in a basic way, and then moved to San Francisco. Began collecting his records here in Bellingham and Anacortes, where he was starting to buy the 78s that would become part of the anthology.
I love that the 78s that become part of the anthology are collected by Harry Smith, and people wanted to buy his collection, or at some point, his collection became interesting to people.
Well, to Mose Ash specifically at Folkways, because this was during the World War II years when a lot of the records were being collected and as salvage, and in that process, he was advertising to find his interest in the kind of obscure folk, blues, hillbilly songs that he was looking for, and he amassed thousands of records in 78s in his collection.
Harry Smith did.
Harry Smith, and moved
And-
those to New York, and was looking to sell those. And Mr. Ash said, "Well, why don't you compile them into a record, and I'll release it." And that's how my understanding of the genesis of the anthology.
We did ask a trivia question there between the first and second song, and as per usual, did not answer the trivia question yet. But we are going to break tradition and actually answer it in the show. And the trivia question was, how many copies of the Anthology of American Folk Music sold in the first year? And the answer is, I think it's 50. And 47 of those went to libraries, which means he sold 3 records in the first year, which makes us feel like we're kind of on track with my career. I mean, that's just like right in that pocket there, anywhere between 2 and 7.
Yeah.
So it's very good. I love it. Now, what about the age difference between Mose Ash and Harry Smith? Do you have
I don't have a sense of that.
Okay, I don't either. But it's so cool that, we have this buddy. He's based out of Port Townsend, Kit Stymie Stovepipe, the Croquill Night Owls, and for a while he and his partner they left their place in Port Townsend, went on the road, and one of the hardest things for him, they moved to North Carolina for a while, but we're going to be traveling around, living out of their van. The hardest thing for Kit was to decide what 78s he would bring with him in the van, and which ones he would have to put in storage. But he was going to bring a substantial amount of 78s with him in the van just because he didn't like to be too far away from them. Harry Smith brought how many 78s from Anacortes to New York City?
Well, at that time he was living in San Francisco, and I don't know how he shipped them, but certainly hundreds, if not thousands.
Enough for the most significant folk label to want to buy them. I was very, very interested in them, and then put out this anthology, which sold 3 copies commercially, 47 of which went to libraries, and changed the world. It's outrageous.
That's something to the reverberation of what a collection like that can do. It really is magical. And he was, appreciative of its significance, I think, and I, to be awarded a Grammy for lifetime achievement based primarily on that, but not alone.
I want to just open the floor a little bit over to these two on my right and far right, and any questions, or my question to both of you is, when did you first come across the anthology, and then do you have any questions yourself for Brett here with his book, Sounding for Harry Smith? I recommend you all pick it up. This is our Northwest pride right here. So I'm so excited that you are joining us today, and so I'll pass it over to one of the two of you who's ready to jump in.
Well, I think I first came to it through maybe not my parents' record collection, but my mom's brother, who has like slightly more esoteric taste, and my uncle John Newland, who plays the fiddle as well, lives in North Carolina, and. But I also, once I found that, it's like you're describing, it's like, oh, that's where, Joan Baez got this, and that's where so-and-so got that. It's like you've heard them all. Well, I don't know, maybe not. But you've heard them all in all these different places, especially if you're interested in old songs. And then you're like, oh, you realize how foundational it was. Yeah.
About what year did you stumble across it?
I don't know, maybe 2005 or something like that,
And did
like
you
high
stumble
school, college, or
LPs, or were you the CD reissue from '97?
probably the CD reissue seems likely. Yeah, but also then I think I would have heard about it and then maybe seen the LP somewhere. It's hard to say.
I have a funny story.
Good, we're in show business.
which
We love
is-
that.
Which is, I think I had heard it before in passing. I mean, I surely knew like a lot of those versions of these songs, being kind of a student of folk music and whatnot. But I really was hyper aware of it, and then started to like dig deeper into it when I was trying to walk from Connecticut to Vermont to see my girlfriend at the time. I ended up hitching most of the way, but I thought that was a great idea, and I had some time on my hands, and I ended up near like Northampton, Massachusetts, in the summer, and I was hanging with my friend Nate, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to go to this music festival where there's like a bunch of bands playing, or do you want to go? I don't know what it is. It's like a bunch of people playing like fiddle music by a river and like playing tunes." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's the one. I want to go to that one." And I ended up at the Harry Smith Frolic in Greenfield, Massachusetts, where at midnight, on I think it's a Saturday. Forgive me if I'm missing some of the details. They will sing an entire, I guess at this point, disc of the anthology. Like if it's the social songs or the dance songs, I forget. Excuse me. You should enlighten me. What are the the three categories? But yeah, so that was when I was, and they do it song by song. Like, all right, who knows "Mole in the Ground?" And someone gets up and does like kind of a note for note, often version of that given song. And I think just to add a detail to the story, I straight walked up into this festival, and they usually charge admission. They were like, "You're walking?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right, yeah, come in. Don't worry about it." So.
And what year is that roughly?
Oh, that was about 1948. No, that's way too early here. 2014 or some odd year like that.
When you read the liner notes to the '97 release, it endlessly explains that without the release of the anthology, things would be very different. That all these people were influenced by it one way or the other. If you were in the folk scene in New York or anywhere else really, but especially in New York, you heard the anthology, you listened to it, you worked it into your repertoire. But it just dawned on me today, and I want to throw this at you to see if you have a hot take, because we're in show business. That's all we're doing here. Is that it was re-released '97. See, in '97 I would have been 20 years old, and I used to attribute the second folk revival. Now, see, I would call the Old Crow Medicine Show, the Avett Brothers, and everybody who 20-year-olds playing bluegrass and folk music in the 2000s. I attribute it first to the death of Bill Monroe and that bringing about a lot of interest in playing of Bill Monroe on radio. And then Oh Brother Where Art sort of just pushed this thing and fed into this zeitgeist, although I don't know what that word means or how to use it properly, of this all of a sudden. And also the baby boomers' kids, me, were getting old enough to maybe want to explore folk music in sort of just a natural sort of way. But I just realized it's actually the reissue of the American Folk Anthology, which means not only did it cause one folk revival, it potentially caused two folk revivals, which kind of is blowing my mind. Any hot take over there?
I think you're right on.
Yeah, baby. I love it when people say that. Isn't that outrageous? So that's why you got interested. Now, of course, people you say you write a book on Harry Smith. All we want to talk about is the anthology, and you've dove into all these other aspects of his life, early life, and he does have a relationship with the Lummies, recording the Lummies. I thought we could talk about that a moment.
Yeah, well, I'll talk a little bit. In fact, I thought it's okay that I read an article that I
You could. The moment is yours. I think who comes on after us? Nobody. It's a live stream, so we can go all night here, and we're feeling good. It's the Pacific Northwest, so everybody's wrapped up in lots of jackets, scarves, and blankets. This is how we make Alaska look warm around here. You know what I mean? We just get into it. I'm in sandals and I'm freezing.
So this is from February 28, 1943 edition of the Bellingham Herald. Headline is Special Program for Juvenile Music Club. Harry Smith, youthful authority on Indian music, whose picture and an article about his work appear in the current issue of The American Magazine, will be the speaker and will play his own recordings of Indian music at the Juvenile Music Club meeting Wednesday afternoon. The club will meet at 4 o'clock at the Hotel Leopold. Miss Alina Bateman and Mrs. Rogan Jones will be in charge and announce that children who have Indian curios and want to bring them may do so, a display to be arranged. Harry is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Smith of this city and has made a special study of Indian music for several years, the Indians of Washington State and British Columbia being his particular interest.
Wow. Let's have a round of applause for Harry Smith right now. And I just would. Anything else you'd like to tell us about this book? We're so happy to have you here, and I hope to see you more. You're welcome at the kitchen table anytime, and you probably have another book coming out next year.
Probably not.
I'll
Maybe
tell you what.
This book will just keep coming out year after
I
year.
love it. We can talk about Harry Smith anytime at the kitchen table. We'd love it. I suppose we have it at the bookstores here in town.
It is at the Village Bookshop, the Watka Museum, and at the Alternative Library, I believe.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What else? Any notes you'd like to leave us with?
I really love what you're doing here. Great music, and this is a great neighborhood event, and so it's inspiring.
Round of applause for our guest here, Brett Lunsford, coming in, helping us out. See, now I'm trying to talk these two into staying in Bellingham, and just to let you know how cool the town is, this man here just told us in 43, Harry Smith was hanging out, giving these sorts of chats and expositions at the Juvenile Club.
Well.
Yeah. She's from Western Virginia, and there was this, culture seeping out of every person who walked around, So, wow, that was cool, huh?
That was really cool.
That was really cool. I can't
Thank
wait
you
to read
so
this
much for
book.
coming.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Well, let's play some music. Maybe we can do something together. Where are we at? Oh, we got plenty of time. I'm just sort of we're off the rails here of a usual kitchen table. David, do you want to come back up and let's do something together? How about you do a little mole in the ground? I'm sure you can do a mole in the ground.
Figure out mole in the ground.
You know, if he was wearing like a fluorescent cowboy hat and you were playing at a bar in New Orleans, it would probably require a $50 bill to do mole in the ground. But that's not the situation here. We're amongst friends.
Okay.
Ah.
Well, G or C?
Yeah, G
What?
works for me. I'm
How
already
about
in
we'll do G?
I wish I was
Or I
a mole in the
thought
ground
I
in the
was.
key of G. Mole in the ground, it's a revolutionary song, really. It's about fighting oppression.
Is it?
Yeah, if I was a mole in the ground, I'd tear that mountain down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Human nature, man.
that's just human nature.
Yeah. Woo.
Do you have any? I'll ask each of you this now. When was the first time you heard this tune, and who did you hear it from?
Oh, wow.
Maybe my dad. You know, when I was little.
He was big into human nature.
He really is.
Yeah.
You know, if he's watching this right now, that will get a chuckle. He is into it. He's a psychologist, actually.
Okay.
But no, my parents shared a big folky like record and then later CD collection, and probably I would bet that the version they listen to is like Doc Watson. But I heard it in my childhood, and my neighbor, Jim Lloyd, the like local barber, he also sold me this banjo, and he like taught me how to play some tunes, but he also plays on I made some CDs with my family, and then the only person not related to me on those albums is Jim Lloyd, and he plays a really incredible like fretless banjo. So, all right, that's better. I won't play it like him, haha, but we'll do our best.
Brian's not telling.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe it was, I was working on a farm in Long Island in my early 20s, and there were a bunch of folk singers. It was a Sylvester Manor educational farm, and I bet I heard Bennett Knesny sing it.
We'll send this
That's
out
my-
to
that's
Bennett,
my-
wherever Bennett may be.
Yeah. Bennett's big into work songs and a great organizer and musician himself.
Something like this. Oh boy, I hope
Yeah.
we'll get on the same
We've
page
done
at
this
some
before.
point. Okay.
How we count it off?
All right, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Wish I was a mole in the ground. If I was a mole in the ground, I'd root the mountain down. Wish I was a mole in the ground. I wish I was a lizard in the spring. Wish I was a lizard in the spring. If I was a lizard in the spring, I would hear my darling sing. Wish I was a lizard in the spring. Oh, baby, where you been so long? Baby, where you been so long? Well, I've been in the pen with a rough and rowdy man. I'm going back again before long. Tessie wants a $9 show. Oh, Tessie wants a $9 show. When I come o'er the hill with a $20 bill, Tessie wants a $9 show.
Sure.
I wish I was a mole in the ground. I
Wish I was a mole in the ground.
If I was a
Mole in the ground, I'd tear that mountain down. Wish I was a mole in the ground.
What if we get a drum solo?
Woo!
Yep.
Why don't we sing it out? Everybody mowing the ground. Woo!
I wish
I was a mole in the ground. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Mole in the ground, I'd root that mountain down. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Yeah.
Nice solo.
Yeah.
I was inspired. You opened up with that tune, What Shall We Do? Did Lankum get that from you, or did you get it from Lankum?
I first heard that from the English duo of June Tabor and Maddie Pryor called Silly Sisters. My mom and I got a hold of that record, and we just learned a bunch of songs off it really quick because, two duets for two women's voices. Just so fun to sing those harmonies. That's where I first heard it.
Okay.
We kind of
But they-
switched
Lankum
around the
did not get it
harmonies a
from
little
me.
bit.
It's gorgeous. I love what you did with that tune. Fantastic. And you've heard Lankum's version.
Oh, yeah.
And have you crossed paths with him?
Yeah, I
Good,
actually I
good.
met them a while ago in Ireland and hit it off so well, and of course just admire their work so much and love what they're doing. We in our house we both kind of have crushes on Rady Pete and her awesome voice.
It's mostly you, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the whole band's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole band is great. Big fans. And I'm
Not
big,
that I don't. Just to be clear, she's awesome.
I'm not getting involved in that. But I will say that I love the radio show Fire Draw Near.
Oh, it's so good.
It's the best.
Yeah,
It's outrageous.
Yeah, while we're recommending Patreons,
Yeah.
like go get it, and then it is released for free like later. Get it earlier if you're a patron. But
Oh, I get the Fire Draw Near.
It's so
It's a radio show. It's a radio show of traditional Irish music, of frankly the best Irish music and commentary that I've come across. I learned
Ian Lynch. The
Ian
curator.
Lynch.
Yeah.
Playing some deep cuts, for sure.
only deep cuts. I mean, if that like deep, well, that's just it. But then he won't. He'll go right down the middle. I mean, I love the show. If you like Irish music at all, Fire Draw Near. And I learned this tune from Lankum. And I thought that maybe we'd do it together. Now, I generally just drone it in D and play it out of time, but I thought I'd put a little time around it just
I can drone with you. I got
Well,
drone
But can you drone in D flat, or should I drone in D?
I can go D flat.
Oh, great. All right, here we go.
Drones are coming.
I did a lot of touring in Ireland starting 20 years ago and 15 years ago, and I was circling around that crew, and I knew that crew to some degree, and they were and still are way into drone, which is an acquired situation to listen to drone music. It is about what it sounds like, and you just have to really get there. And I've always struggled,
Get into it.
but you're there. Just drone.
I'm so there.
Okay. I think Ian sings this. I got a bootleg. I have a Lankum bootleg back when they were lynched and they were playing at a print shop in Cork, and I have my sources. But maybe you know something about the song. Maybe this is a song done by Maddie Pryor, and here I think that. Well, I don't know what I think.
it?
Well, you're about to find out. Rosie Riley.
I don't know Rosie Riley.
Rosie Riley. Rosie Riley, oh, I held Rose in my arms at the fair, boundless low, as green and lovely, in the morning coming down. Rosie sitting telling fortunes across the palm with half a pound. Rosie Riley. Rosie Riley, oh, I held the rose in my arms at the fair, and balance low. I didn't know she had a husband. And her husband had a brother, both big and bad as he. I didn't know they'd be coming for me at the fair and bounce low. Rosie, Rosie, Rosie Riley. Rosie, Rosie Riley, oh, I held Rosie in me arms at the fair, the boundless low. I saw me brother throwing bottles. I saw me doll stretched out on the ground. I felt my head strip wide open. Rosie, Rosie, where are you now? Rosie, Rosie, Rosie Riley. Rosie, Rosie Riley, oh, I held Rosie in me arms at the fair in Balliness. Yeah,
That's so good.
what a joy.
Yeah.
What a joy. Well, it's to you. What do you two have up your sleeves? 4 sleeves over there. I know you got something, and what a joy. What a joy to be having some songs here on 8th Street in the most northwest corner of the most northwest city, most northwest state in the lower 48. That's Bellingham, Washington, my hometown, the town Harry Smith graduated from high school. That is right. Harry Smith graduated from high school in Bellingham, Washington, after spending some time in Anacortes, and went on to do so many things and influence me. I think I first heard Mole on the Ground from the anthology. I listened to that endlessly, and it just seeped in. I never tried to learn anything off of it, but it's there. It's there in the brain, you know? It's deep in there. Music is cool that way.
Yeah.
What's
a
up?
lot of them just go in.
They go in.
I think especially folk songs, like they're easy to, they just stay. And
Yeah.
that's like why they
Yeah,
exist
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there they are, you know.
Yeah.
It's good that there's a lot of rhyming, I will say.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know
What
what
we
song doesn't rhyme? Is
Mm.
that one about the sun's going down on Santa Monica Boulevard,
True.
which is kind of cool. It was
Yeah,
pointed out to me
that's a good
once,
one.
and I like to share.
Not Sheryl Crow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because the sun, there's no rhymes, and then and I think there's in the chorus there.
Oh, and she's kind of like doing some spoken wordy
It's like,
stuff
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
verse.
Yeah.
It is cool. So which volume?
So
of
it's
the
cool when it
anthology is
rhymes.
on?
It's
They're
cool
near
when it
rhymes,
doesn't
though.
rhymes. Oh,
Right?
Slant rhymes.
Yeah, they're slant rhymes. They're all I want to do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one.
oh no, there's rhymes on the chorus, but not the verses.
Right. Okay,
the
yeah,
verses.
yeah,
Yeah, That's definitely in my world. That is a rhyme. You can call it.
I don't
want
want to get any angry emails from Sheryl Crow up in here.
Well, she's on the show next week, and
okay.
that's why I'm sort of talking to her now. You know, Cheryl has a summer home here on J Street. She actually owns Harry
Yeah,
Smith's house that Harry grew up in. She's a big fan of folk music. You don't know much about it. She has a couple aliases she records under.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mary Smith.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Sherry Smith.
yeah. Well, I've pontificated long enough to embarrass myself. How about a song from these two great singers to my
Okay.
right?
We gotta sing along.
Great.
Yeah, it's sing along able. This is kind of a version of a version that if you look up Tim O'Brien and Daryl Scott, they have a good version of this. A kind of nice high, lonesome sounding bluegrass duet, and we're gonna do a variation of that. It's all call and response. So the trouble with the sing along here is the geometry is off. Y'all are hella far away. Yeah, you can come closer. You
We're
can come right
Northwesterners.
here.
We're most comfortable in that reality. Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Some people cheat.
Some people cheat.
They steal and lie.
They steal and lie.
For wealth and what?
For wealth and what?
It will buy.
It will buy.
But don't they know?
But don't they know?
On the judgment day.
On the judgment day.
All that silver and gold.
All that silver and gold
Will melt away.
will
Let's do
melt
that again.
away.
Oh, what don't they know?
What don't they know?
On the judgment day.
On the judgment day.
All that silver and gold.
All that silver and gold
will melt away.
will melt away.
What good is gold?
What good is gold?
And silver too.
And silver too.
If your heart's not pure and true,
It's not pure and true.
sinner, hear me when I say, oh, you gotta get down,
Oh, you gotta get down
on your knees and pray.
On your knees and pray.
Oh, sinner, hear me when I say, oh, you gotta get down,
you gotta get down
on your knees and pray.
On your knees and pray.
Oh, I'd rather be in a deep dark grave, and to know my soul was saved,
My soul was saved.
then live in this world, in a house of gold,
In a house of gold.
and deny my God, and lose my soul,
And lose my soul.
Oh, then I live in this world,
Then to live in this world.
in a house of gold,
In a house of
gold, and deny my God,
And deny my God.
and lose my soul,
And lose my soul. Nice singing. Did Hank Williams write that?
Oh yeah, Hank Williams totally wrote that. And it sounds way different when he sings it, but it's great, of course.
I'd like to hear one more from one of the two of you. Whatever's in your hands, whatever comes to you. Brian Dolphin's an original songwriter. Maybe you got an original song for us before you send this thing out to pasture?
We can do that. I had an inkling of an inspiration because there's a wonderful drummer and a wonderful drum also here. We could do that Mr. Toot one,
Oh my gosh.
and we get him to do a hip hop beat on
All right. That would be really cool.
How hip hop do you want it to be?
it. Like extremely.
Wow.
I don't know. How do you answer that question?
Yeah, do you ever want it to be like, oh no, just like a little bit? I don't want the beat to drop too hard.
Yeah, I want the bass kind of up high, but not down too low. I want the bass down
that.
low in the mix.
Oh,
We got Brian Dolphin, Elizabeth LaPerrelle. That's David Penderlofgren over here on my left. I'm Robert Sarazin Blake. This is
Yeah.
the kitchen table. We are definitely having that part of the show where it is like when it is you've played the gig and now the gig is over. And when you're on the road, all of us can tell you we have heard of people who go to tall buildings with small rooms and doors that lock behind them, but we've only done that ourselves on the very rare occasion. Most often, we end up at each other's houses, sleeping on a soggy couch, and before we go to sleep, we sit around the kitchen table and have a few more songs, stories, and jars of this, that, or the other thing. And that is definitely the point of the show we're at right now, and I'm so happy to be here with my friends. And David dropping what is referred to by these folks from the East Coast as a hip-hop beat.
Fine, you do the high one. That'd be great.
Yeah, I want to do the high one.
Great. All right, let's hear that. Like a hip hop beat, like. Let's see, like. Yeah, and you're gonna add all sorts of
So
fun flavors in there. Keep that going. I'm just gonna move this mic and stall. All right, here we go. Oh, can I look at you also when to cut out for like dramatic effect? I'll give you like a evil wink.
I'll back up.
Yeah. All right, let's get our sight lines here. All right, here we go. Oh, I can't think of anyone that I love more than my son. Watch him learn how to play the flute. One day we'll call him Mr. 2. 1, 2, 7, 8. Mr. 2. Mr. 2. Yeah, Mr. 2. Mr. 2. Whistle solo. Yeah. She making that up on the spot, yo. Elizabeth Laprelle, everyone. All right, drop it. Oh, I can't think of anyone that I love more than my son. Watch him learn how to dance and sing. He gets everybody dancing. 1, 2, 7. Ah! Dancing. Dancing. Let's see if we can pull this off. Fluting, tooting, dancing, singing, fluting, tooting, dancing, singing.
Brian Dolphin.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Elizabeth Laprelle.
Well, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you very much, everybody in our live audience. And thanks to everybody out there at the kitchen table that goes all the way over the world between the ones, the zeros, the cables, and the screens. Our friend John Henry's over there doing all the back screens with the scenes and the ones. And please, everybody, do make us a donation there. There is no nation like the donation. And for those of you of a certain age, it is an opportunity to turn an annuity into a gratuity.
Oh, yeah.
We got the Venmo, we got the PayPal, and we got the old-fashioned hat. And Mary's going to pass around some cards if she hasn't had a chance already. Let people know how you can reach those places. David Pender Lofgren, Elizabeth Laprelle, Brian Dolphin, We always like to close with this one here. And it is, of course, Lily's graduation. Let's not lose sight of that.
Yeah,
Lucy.
Also, we got that mailing list. We got these Patreons. Look us up. Talk to us.
Talk to us.
Thanks for having
I like
us.
that. I like talk to us.
Yeah.
You have to tell people in the Northwest that it's okay to talk to you.
Please. Talk
Yeah,
to me.
because otherwise people
We're
would
so
feel like it would be
lonely.
rude to actually go and talk to somebody. It's like we wouldn't want to just be so bold, you know. I don't know why we're that way. We like to wrap the show with this one here. It was great to see you, because we thought you were dead. Did you come back to life? Did you get out of your bed? It's great to see you. Was that your ghost? We thought you were gone. Burnt toast, it's great to see you. I whisper nothing, sing softly on your ear. Try not to cut short the moment that's here. Shadow it might be, feelings clear. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. It's great to see you. Are you gonna stay? Are you here for the long night? Are you leaving at the break of day? It's great to see you. Yeah, it's true. It's great to see you. It's great to be near you. It's all about the times we share. Let's sing with me now. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. Robert, Sarazin, Blake from the kitchen table, thank you for being with us. You can tune in every Sunday, 5 to 7. And be sure to catch these two wherever you can find them. And my associate, David Penderlofgren. Thanks to Mary and to Jarrett for hosting us. We'll see you all next week here or there or wherever we may be. And to Brett Lunsford for being our special guest, of course.